Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roren Masia Mponera. In this channel, I share with you my day-to-day life, but of course packed. So in this video, I'm reflecting on the whole year because today is 31st of December when I'm recording it, 2024. So I'm reflecting the whole year. What have I achieved? What have I not achieved? And then looking forward to 2025. So without wasting much of your time, I'll go through the timeline from January to December, but in as much as quick as I can. So we started the year, obviously I start the year with my birthday because it comes very early in the year. And so yeah, I had, nice birthday. But it was also a time when I published my book. So in the run up to the birthday itself, we were quite busy with the editor, meeting every evening to make sure that by 3rd of January, the book was published. And so, yes, it was published, but it was launched later on in the month, like 27 or 28 of January this year. That one was my first. This one is my first book. The one that we launched this year was my second book. Was Not Born a Sad Poet came out in 2022, which is my first book. My third book is coming out in 2025, June of 2025. Okay, so look out for that. And yeah, I'm quite excited about this project. I love reading books. I'm a writer, so I also love reading. And the book that I'm reading at the moment is this one, The Power of Bridging. And it says here, how to build a world where we all belong. Sometimes because of what is happening in the community and in the society, in the areas where we live, it makes us to think, how can we live together as different as we are, because we know that we are all different in different ways, but how can we live together as humans where we see each other's humanness than focusing on our differences and or focusing on othering. So this book is mainly focusing on that. And so I was inspired to buy the book because of what just happened in the UK with the racist riots, which was quite shocking thing for most of us because we did not know the depth of the racism that we could face, that it could reach to the point that it reached. So, okay, let's get into it. So in January there was a book launch. If I'm looking aside, because that's where my notes are, I can't remember everything from January to December. And so also in January, I was part of Care for Kale fundraising poetry evening. I went there through my Sing for Change choir community group. I'm part of Sing for Change choir. And so I also went on a performance in Liverpool with a play called Stumbling Stones. So part of the play, there is a part where I also perform poetry. I've also had several speaking events in January. I spoke at the Thinking Security and also with a group that focuses on campaigning for undocumented migrants in Europe. In February, my notes are not that clear here, so let's check where February is. Okay. So February is talking about, I guess it's about when I yeah, there is because it's talking about migration, democracy, training, UK politics, but I've grouped trainings aside. So let's jump to March. March, I was part of, I performed at NACOM conference in New York, but I also performed at the Coventry Refugee and Migrant Center as part of International Women's Day. I also was part of Refugee Week conference that happens every year. This year, I think it's in February. I'm also looking forward to attend. For the 2024 one, I was one of the people that took part. We also had in conversation with Marka on Civic Leicester YouTube. I'm quite someone who lives a very busy life. It used to be even busier during pandemic because of so many other things, but I am trying to sieve through and see what should I keep, what should I not. But it is a process. So in April, I had the privilege to speak to students at King Edward's College. In May, I was at a Stand Up to Racism conference in Warsaw, but I also enrolled on a course called Community Awaker. It was eye-opening because they were training me to know about different sectors of the council, different providers, how services are provided in Birmingham, basically. So it provided a lot of insights in terms of like different sections, like social services and prisons and this and the other. So it was really good, like even universal credits and all sorts of stuff. So it was good because I work in Birmingham, and so much as I've lived in the West Midlands for some time, but I didn't have insight into that. So I paid for the course for myself because I wanted to understand the Birmingham setup, because I live in Coventry. Although I live in Coventry, I would love to also do a community course in Coventry, because that then gives me knowledge of my local services, and then who to contact for what, and it also gives you information about what things as migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers that we can access to. So I really wish that there was also something like that that is open to people, even though it wasn't free. I paid, it's over £200, but for me, I found it worthwhile. In June, I performed at the Metropolitan Thames Valley. There, like it's like a conference or meeting, something like that. So the lady who reached out said she had seen me at performing at NACOM conference the previous month, and so she reached out to say, "Can you also do similar things at our meeting?" Which was good. It's good for when people have seen you and they come back to you and say, "Can you also do this for us?" Yeah. But in June, because it is Refugee Week, there was also a lot of performances. I also performed. I was a speaker actually at the Quakers meeting. I was talking about my involvement with a Status Now for All, where we campaign also for undocumented migrants in the UK. But June is also, it is a month that my son was born. My son was born on 11th of June, but we also had it's on the 10th of June. It's when the vice president of Malawi was killed by plane, and so it was quite a very difficult month to go through than usual. But yeah, and so in July, I attended the first Black Lives Matter conference in London. I also attended the our vice president's memorial ceremony, which took place in Northampton, here in the UK. In August, I enrolled on a Reiki healing course, which one of the Reiki teachers kindly offered for us. And so I was part of that. But also, August was also a very difficult month because that's when the riots that I mentioned about at the beginning took place between July and August. So August was kind of like the climax because it started towards the end of July. So I had to cancel, like, I had a meeting that I wanted to attend about Stop Rwanda campaign in Birmingham. I could not go because it was quite dangerous. And it was a time that, for me, since I've been in the UK for the past 16, 17 years, it was my toughest time to go through ever because I just could not understand what exactly was happening. And so it was hard to go through that. But we are here. God saved me. That's what I believe. I also performed poetry at another Quaker event online in August. So in September, I attended several conferences at the University of Birmingham and another one at the University of Sheffield. I also performed poetry at the University of Sheffield conference. I also attended the Migrants' Rights Network in Leicester, which was also good because I went with friends, and also there we made friendships. I was also I also appeared on Seed for Change podcast, which is like a killer podcast. I'll leave it in the description below for those who want to know more what it was about. But I also attended the transformative organizing training by Neon. I've known Neon quite for a very long time, and I regard them as a close friend in terms of campaigning and organizing and things like that. It is their generosity that I remember most. It is an organization that really cares for organizers. So each time there is a training, I know we are in for a treat. Not just for the, not just for the information, new information, and updating us and making us think in terms of like how else can we support our communities, how else can we win in our communities, but also the the practical things, the enabling things that makes the environment to be welcoming, where you feel you belong, and you just feel like, yeah, you're part of this community. So I'm so grateful. In October, I attended a media training by IMIX. It was an online thing, but I also attended the radio and podcast drama training. This was on a scholarship by Writing West Midlands, which I'm also very, very appreciative because I could not have afforded. And it's quite a very good training. I could recommend it to anyone. But whether I'll get to write the radio and podcast drama, that's a topic that we can discuss on a different day. But to me, I found it very rich, enlightening, eye opening, and all of that. In the same month of October, I also attended, we had a performance at Coast Hill. It's a local library, Coast Hill Library, poetry performance. But I also enrolled in, this one, God Save Sexist. I attended a feminist leadership training. This is why I'm saying God Save Sexist, because yes, the feminist leadership program was so good, and I thank everyone that supported me to get on the program, and the people that offered the program, Women Resources Center in London. It's quite a very good training. I recommend anyone that wants to really understand feminism, and you will actually start seeing the transformation straight away, because you are in a room of full of feminists, and everyone brings in their own experiences and knowledge and all of that together, sharing, and the facilitators are also well qualified and trained, and they know what they are doing. It was really, really good. But it's also in October where I appeared on ITV, where I was supporting a friend who was telling their story of migration. They are still asylum seeker, and how they've been refused several times, and how hard it is for refugees and asylum seekers in this country. But we also had a conversation with Dadilai. I hope she doesn't mind me mentioning her name here, but she's one of respected um, migrant rights campaigners here in the West Midlands. We were on Civic Leicester YouTube. In November, I performed in Shropshire at the Stand Up to Racism conference. I also attended the awards the same day for one of our elders, John, who received an award for the humanitarian work. She's someone who has kept our community together for a very long time. She's always supporting everyone with her own resources, and yet she's over 90. But she does a lot for people. She has done a lot for all of us. But yeah, so we thank her for the generosity and the kindness and the love that she has shown us, that she has helped us to settle in Coventry. And congratulations, John. I also did a public speaking training at Inini Initiative. I went for this one because it was so catchy. They said the speeches we write, we will perform them at Warwick University. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. But because I lead and live a very busy life, all these things that I've talked so far from January till now in November, they are things that I do outside of work, and yet I work 4 days a week. So it's quite busy thing. So I managed to attend the training, but I could not attend the performance side of it. But what came out of that public speaking training is that I came up with a poem called Poverty in Plenty. Hopefully you can see it at some point. I also attended, this year they were marking 100 years since, since the Berlin Conference. Is it 100 years? Sorry if I confuse. But the Berlin Conference from 1884 to 2024, 15 November is the day that they had their first Berlin Conference meeting. Then it was postponed to somewhere in February 1885, where they were sharing our countries, our colonizers then. So there's a group that they call themselves, is it internationalist? No, but yeah. So we were marking the beginning of that, and I'm grateful that I could be part. But following the Far-Right riots in July, August, it also triggered a lot of some, not a lot, some of health issues within me. So for example, my anxiety had gone up, and my blood pressure, everything was just all over the place, really. And so yeah, I had to get into therapy and seeing doctors often, and diabetes issues were also coming up. But thankfully, all of those things have now been reversed, and I'm back to my normal self. We thank God for that. We are nearly there. December. Of course, in November, we also had a performance with the Sing for Change choir at Warwick University, which was also amazing because we were combining singing and poetry. So I was part of the people that performed poetry there. We also had the Daughters of Nyasa party. Daughters of Nyasa is a community group that I'm part. It's women from Malawi. We come together to fundraise so that we could do some charity work back home. And so we had our fundraising dinner on 30th of November. In December, I have appeared on a Racial Justice Network podcast. It was one of my highlights for 2024. I was treated like a celebrity. Oh my God, with an audience. It was my first time to be on a podcast with a live audience. I've recorded podcasts 100 times or more, but it's always just in the studio. Just, you know. But this one was live with people. So I was, yeah, we'll see how it comes out. But well, it was my best. It was my best. And so I also enrolled on a Amnesty International program, leadership program. And so we went to Parliament. I haven't been to Parliament for a while. I've been to Parliament, but for different reasons. But it's some years back. But this time was different. We're in a room and MPs came and we talked. It was just hanging out with MPs, and in between speeches were being given. So it was really nice. And the MPs that I spoke to on the day were very friendly. Even my MP here, Mary Gray, she didn't come, but she sent a message to say a member of staff will come. And indeed, the member of staff came and we had a good chat. And I'm looking forward to follow it up so that we can continue that conversation. But I really appreciated that she responded, and indeed she sent someone to come and meet me. How nice. Yeah, that was really good. So, and yeah, then the week of Christmas I was away. I was in Leeds to be with my friends in Leeds, and it was yeah, I loved it. It was really good to be in company of people that value you, people that like you, people that, yeah, you know, they're friends, but I call sisters because we are that close. And again, I'm very, very grateful. But I'm also part of a lot of things like, voluntary work, especially. I'm part of charities where I'm a trustee, or just doing voluntary work because I have friends who know me that I work in the migration sector, that I have volunteered in migration sector, that I was an asylum seeker myself, that I have led work or with the refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers. And so that work also continues, and the majority of that is on voluntary basis. I also did comedy last year. I've been to Manchester. I think that was in June. And then later on, the one in August was cancelled because of riots. But somewhere in October, we were in Leicester. So it was all good. My work with charities, it's also, like I said, it's voluntary. It's here and there because usually you don't meet every day, once in 3 months or so, and then you have maybe a strategy day once a year and things like that, unless if you are in committees. So I also found a training that was also focusing on how to be a trustee. So now I know what I'm expected to do and how trustees can be transformed to, you know, to match with the current type of needs and things like that. Because most of the services, I know this can be controversial, but most of the services are outdated. The way we do things is in most places it's quite outdated. So how do I put it? I don't want to start giving examples because yeah, that would be even more controversial. But yeah, most of the things they need to change. They need to, yeah, they need to change. I'm so passionate about so many things, and mental health is one of them. It's of on top of things. So yeah, okay. Mm, what else can we talk about here? Okay, so yeah, last year we were also involved in campaigning a lot around the Stop Rwanda bill, where the UK government wanted to be sending asylum seekers to Rwanda. Thank God that policy was stopped when Labour came in, when this government came in. But before that, we were campaigning, we were going to a reporting center all the time to give people information about what they can do if in case they get detained while they are inside. So that was good to be part. But I also attended equity, diversity, inclusive training at Warwick University because of all sorts of things um, that sometimes I do not understand when I see them happening. So having the knowledge, it gives you a better chance in the way we respond to them and the way we deal with them whenever we see them. So it was quite eye opening as well. Yeah, I've also done community research with University of Birmingham. I already mentioned about feminist leadership training with Women Resource Center, all on my own free time, just because I want to improve myself. I want to, yeah, I don't want to be outdated. Okay, but there are also some things that did not work as I planned. I had enrolled, for example, of course, I don't take them as failures. There are lessons learned through them. I had enrolled on a mentor mentee program. We were trained how to be a good mentor, and so I had chosen to mentor somebody who wanted to go back to school, and in this case an asylum seeker, because it was mentorship for asylum seekers and refugees. My mentee was living was still an asylum seeker, still in very very initial type of accommodation, and because of my busy life as well, I could not meet um, the minimum standards that had been set, I guess. So I, much as I tried my best, because supporting people to go to schools is my strength, is what I've done for many years, over 20 years, I think. Yeah, over 20 years. So yeah, I just even myself could not understand how it happened and why. But yes, so there are lessons learned, like I have said. Probably next time I would make sure I plan it better so that it is it is a success. We also lost a member of our community, um, a lady who used to volunteer a lot in Coventry, and she was quite well known. That was sad. That was in April. I haven't also been able to meet frequently with my writing group. It's called Writers at Play. We meet every Wednesday evenings online. I am the youngest in the group, youngest, because it's a poetry group for over 55. But I joined because during pandemic I was lonely. I needed to be part of a community, and they accepted me and I'm so grateful for that. But I haven't been joining because most of the courses that I have done throughout the year, they were also in the evenings, like the radio drama, the you know um my migrant democracy project was were all in the evening, so things were crashing, and then by the time I'm finishing it's late, or I'm tired, or this and the other. But yeah, it was also good to be part of migrant democracy project, where we're learning about politics in the UK. It was quite eye opening. What I also did not do, the course called Neurotech training. I've been thinking about what is it that I can do using my hands, something that, I'm just, yeah, getting involved in. So when a training for nails came up, I signed up, but it was cancelled. So that one didn't take place, not because of my fault, but because it just did not uh, take place. The organizers just said will not do. The last one that I would have loved to be part was the portraits in Coventry with a photographer called Oscar. So I was invited to be part of it. But because of my busy schedule, we had arranged a meeting, and then I cancelled it at the very last minute, and so I could not get another slot immediately after that, which was disappointing on my part. So yes, the video is wrong about 32 minutes, exactly 32 minutes. But if you've reached the end, congratulations. So thank you very much. I hope this gives you a chance to look at my 2024, and today the 31st of December 2024. This is what transpired. I had a lot that I had planned, as in goals that I've not achieved. So those goals are spilling over. I just need to look at them. How can I achieve them? Make actionable milestones and steps and all of that, so that we get there. Okay, this is it. Bye.